How I became profitable by trading less. Most traders think profitability comes from finding more trades, more setups, more indicators, more screen time, more action. But let me be honest with you. The moment I started trading less was the moment I finally started making money consistently. And I know that sounds backwards because everything around you tells you the opposite. Social media makes trading look fast, constant, aggressive, people posting multiple entries every day, charts everywhere, big profits, endless movement. So naturally, you start believing that success in trading must come from doing more. But here's what nobody tells you. Most traders are not losing money because they trade badly. They're losing money because they trade too often. And those are two very different problems. Because when you overtrade, you slowly stop making decisions from clarity. You start making them from emotion, from boredom, from anxiety, from the fear of missing out, from the need to feel productive. And this is where it changes. Because profitable trading is not really about finding more opportunities. It's about becoming selective enough to ignore most of them. That's the shift nobody prepares you for. At first, trading feels like a game of activity. Later, you realize it's actually a game of restraint. And restraint is hard, especially when your emotions are involved, especially when money is involved, especially when you're trying to escape financial pressure. If you've felt this, you're not alone. I remember a period where I believed the answer to my inconsistency was simply more effort. So I stayed on the charts all day. London session, New York session, sometimes even Asian session. I convinced myself that more screen time meant more discipline. But in reality, I was emotionally attached to movement. I needed action to feel like I was progressing. And that mindset quietly destroyed my consistency. Because the more trades I took, the worse my decisions became. Not immediately, slowly. That's the dangerous part. Emotional trading rarely looks emotional in the beginning. It looks logical, convincing, reasonable. You always find a reason to enter. But deep down, your nervous system is rushing, your patience is gone, your standards are dropping, and your mind starts forcing opportunities that aren't really there. Here's a quote I want you to think about deeply. Overtrading is often emotional hunger disguised as ambition. Read that again, because that sentence changed how I viewed myself as a trader. I realized I wasn't just chasing profits. I was chasing emotional stimulation. I wanted to feel involved, important, active. But the market doesn't reward emotional involvement. It rewards emotional control. That realization hurt my ego because I thought being serious meant constantly trading. But professional traders don't behave like addicts. They behave like hunters. Calm, patient, selective. Imagine becoming the kind of trader who no longer feels pressure to be in the market every hour. Imagine becoming emotionally stable enough to watch opportunities pass without feeling panic. That's freedom, real trading freedom, not flashy profits, inner control. And once I understood that, everything started changing. The first major shift was this. I stopped trying to catch every move. This sounds simple. But psychologically, it's massive, because most traders secretly believe every missed move is a missed life opportunity. So when price runs without them, they feel emotional pain, and emotional pain creates impulsive behavior. You revenge trade, you chase entries, you enter late, you increase risk, not because your strategy changed, because your emotions took control. Here's what nobody tells you. Missing trades is part of professional trading. Not every move belongs to you. That sentence alone can calm an anxious trader, because once you stop believing you must catch everything, you stop forcing things that don't belong to your plan. I remember watching Bitcoin move aggressively one morning without me. Old me would have panicked. I would have jumped into the move halfway through. I would have justified a terrible entry just to feel included. But this time, I did nothing. And honestly, it felt uncomfortable. I sat there watching the candles move while fighting the urge to enter emotionally. But later that same day, the market reversed violently, and I realized something important. Patience had just protected me more than analysis. That moment stayed with me because I started understanding that profitability is not just about what you do, it's also about what you avoid. And emotional traders never think about avoidance, they only think about action. But mature traders understand something deeper. Every trade carries psychological weight. Every entry affects your emotional state. Every unnecessary trade drains mental energy. And eventually, your mind becomes noisy. That noise destroys precision. This is why trading less changed my psychology completely. I became calmer, clearer, more objective. I stopped reacting emotionally to every candle. I stopped staring at charts all day. And strangely, my results improved. Not because I became smarter overnight, but because I stopped interfering with my own edge. That's what overtrading really is, self-interference. Another shift that changed everything was this. I stopped measuring success by how many trades I took. That mindset is poison, because when your identity is tied to activity, you'll force action just to feel productive. But trading is one of the few professions where doing less can actually produce more. Think about that. A surgeon is not respected for doing unnecessary surgeries. A sniper is not respected for shooting constantly. Precision matters more than frequency. Yet traders forget this every day. They believe movement equals progress, but often movement is just emotional distraction. Here's a thought-provoking statement. The need to constantly trade is usually a sign that you don't trust your process yet. That truth forced me to confront myself, because deep down I realized I was using excessive trading to escape uncertainty. If I kept entering, I didn't have to sit with discomfort. I didn't have to face patience. But patience is where professional traders are built. Not excitement, not speed, patience. And patience feels slow when your identity is still emotional. This is where identity evolution becomes everything, because profitable trading requires becoming a different kind of person, not just learning more setups, not buying another course, not adding another indicator. You must become someone emotionally stable enough to wait. That's difficult in today's world. Everything around you trains impatience, fast entertainment, fast results, fast dopamine. So naturally, traders bring that same mindset into the market. But the market punishes emotional urgency every time. I once knew a trader named Daniel. Smart guy, very technical, could explain market structure beautifully, but he couldn't stop trading. Even after winning trades, he kept entering more. Not because setups existed, because emotionally he couldn't detach. One month he made good profits, then lost almost all of it in 3 emotional days. Not because his strategy failed, because his discipline failed. That distinction matters because many traders abandon profitable systems simply because their emotions corrupted execution. Eventually, Daniel did something interesting. He limited himself to only 2 trades per day. That was it. At first, he hated it. He felt trapped, restless, like he was missing opportunities. But over time, his mind became quieter. His entries improved, his confidence stabilized, and for the first time, trading stopped feeling chaotic. That's powerful, because chaos feels normal to emotional traders, but professional traders operate from structure, always. Now let me tell you something that changed my entire perspective. The market pays you for patience before it pays you with money. That sentence forced me to mature emotionally, because I realized consistency was less about prediction and more about emotional regulation. Most traders are trying to conquer the market, but the real battle is internal. Fear, greed, urgency, ego. The market simply exposes whatever already exists inside you. That's why 2 traders can use the same strategy and get completely different results. One is emotionally disciplined, the other is emotionally reactive. One waits, one forces, one follows process, one follows feelings. And feelings are dangerous in trading when left unchecked. This is why trading less helped me become more aware of my emotional state. I started noticing patterns. I noticed I traded badly when tired. I traded badly after arguments. I traded badly after trying to recover losses quickly. Awareness changed everything. Because awareness interrupts destructive patterns, and most traders are unconscious while trading. They think they're analyzing charts, but really they're reacting emotionally to uncertainty. There's another truth nobody talks about enough. The market does not care how badly you need money. That's painful, but necessary to understand. Because desperate traders force trades. Calm traders wait for alignment, and alignment is rare. That's why profitable trading often looks boring from the outside. Less trades, less noise, less emotional drama, more precision, more patience, more control. Imagine becoming so emotionally disciplined that one good setup is enough for you. Imagine no longer needing constant action to feel validated. Imagine becoming calm while everyone else is emotionally rushing. That's when trading becomes sustainable. That's when confidence becomes real, because real confidence is quiet. It doesn't need constant movement. It doesn't need to prove itself every hour. And this is where many traders misunderstand confidence completely. Confidence is not forcing entries aggressively. Confidence is waiting without emotional pressure. That's maturity. If this video is hitting something real inside you, comment below. Less trades, more clarity. Seriously, type it, because repetition shapes identity, and identity shapes behavior. You become whatever you repeatedly reinforce. That's true in trading. That's true in life. Now, let me say something slightly uncomfortable. Some of you are not addicted to trading. You're addicted to escaping stillness. Because stillness forces self-awareness, and self-awareness can be uncomfortable. When you sit still long enough, you start noticing your emotional triggers. You notice your impatience, your fear, your insecurity. And instead of confronting those emotions, many traders open another position. That's why overtrading is often emotional avoidance, not ambition. Avoidance. Once I understood that, I started treating trading differently. I stopped seeing patience as weakness. I started seeing it as emotional strength. And gradually, my entire relationship with the market changed. Trading became calmer, cleaner, more intentional. I started waiting for A-plus setups only. And yes, that meant fewer trades, sometimes painfully few. But the quality improved. The emotional clarity improved, and eventually the profitability improved too. This is where it changes for many traders watching this right now. Because maybe your problem isn't strategy anymore. Maybe your real problem is emotional excess, too much forcing, too much reacting, too much urgency. And maybe the breakthrough is not learning how to trade more, but learning how to sit still longer. That sounds simple, but psychologically, it's one of the hardest things a trader can do, especially in a world addicted to speed. But remember this, the market rewards the trader who can remain calm while others feel urgency. That sentence can save years of frustration if you truly absorb it. Now, before we close, I want you to reflect honestly. How many bad trades came from boredom? How many came from impatience? How many came from trying to recover quickly? Be honest with yourself, because honest traders improve faster. And if this video gave language to something you've been struggling with internally, hit the like button. Not because likes matter emotionally, but because it tells me you want more conversations like this. And if you're serious about evolving as a trader, subscribe. Because this channel is not about hype. It's about building traders who can actually survive psychologically. And survival matters more than excitement. Always. Let me leave you with this final thought. You are probably closer to consistency than you think. Not because the market suddenly becomes easy, but because the biggest breakthrough often comes when you stop fighting yourself. When you stop forcing, when you stop chasing, when you stop needing constant action. That's when clarity appears. That's when discipline strengthens. That's when confidence becomes stable. And eventually, that's when profitability follows. Imagine becoming the kind of trader who no longer needs to overtrade to feel important. Imagine becoming calm enough to wait for quality. Imagine becoming emotionally free from the need to constantly participate. That's real growth, not just as a trader, as a person. So the next time you feel the urge to force a trade, pause, ask yourself, am I trading opportunity or emotion? That one question can change everything. And if you're serious about evolving as a trader, act differently and eventually live differently. Subscribe now. Because this journey is not about becoming lucky. It's about becoming disciplined enough to stop sabotaging your own potential. And once that transformation begins, the market starts feeling very different.